Thank you.
You got it.
What's next?
There's one thing I want to say, and that is, I love the music in the mountains of North Carolina. My brother Bill is one of them. Old Mountain Dew is that it's called. And everyone sings that up there. But there's another song, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? And that was written by Scotty Wiseman up in the mountains of North Carolina. Scotty's a fantastic guy. He was coming home from work one day, and he came into the house. He realized his wife was ill. He was standing by the door and said, "Have I told you lately that I love you?" Leaning against the door, he immediately got a pencil and started writing on his kitchen table. This is the mountains of North Carolina, and wrote the words to that song, "Have I told you lately that I love you?" Scotty never had to work another day again because of it. I think that's all I'll do right now, and maybe we have time for another one later on.
But aren't you going to sing the song you just discussed? Yeah. Aren't you going to sing Have I Told You? He said later.
No, I can't do that.
Okay, so after graduation from Juniata, I went to Lower Dauphin High School, and I became a math teacher and a football coach. See, I'm just reviewing a little bit what I did. Maybe some of you might be able to share some of the things you did as the evening goes along. I was very fortunate. I had some very successful teams. Lower Dauphin was a good experience for me. Big 33 game, I was one of the coaches chosen to coach in the Big 33 game way back when the first year we played Ohio as the state of Pennsylvania. One of the neat things that year, though, was I also got to do it with a Juniata legend, because someone who led Juniata to the Tangerine Bowl, Pat Tarquinio, was on the same staff as I was. And so we were Big 33 coaches together in Pennsylvania. So it was a great experience, and it was a beautiful time. Family was growing up. I was lucky enough to marry a great person, and I went to graduate school, and in my master's program I got straight A's. And you know what my mother said? She said, "You should have married her earlier." My mother gave me no credit at all. And rightfully so. The wife should get the credit. Going back to the wife should get the credit, another name from the past that you folks should know, because he graduated a year in front of us, and he actually robbed our class of his wife, Frank Rocco. He and I coached against each other. We coached with each other, and my son now was playing for Hershey, so I had Frank down. He was working on the Penn State staff then. I had Frank down to talk. I'm out of coaching now, but the family's growing up, and we were standing there, and he was having a nice evening, and he was going to say a few things to the Hershey football team, and we were discussing about my son was doing well in school. He was looking to go to this college. My daughter is really doing well. He was talking about his children and going to college. They were both in college, a couple more on the way, and we were just bragging about our children. And then all of a sudden Frank stops and says, "Our wives must have done a hell of a job." Because when you're coaching, you're busy, and it reflects back on your wives, and yeah, they did a great job. I got to tell you another story before I introduce the next person, and this has to do with a traffic stop. And it was 1:30 a.m., and it was somebody driving a car by themselves our age. And the traffic cop said, well, you look like you're driving okay, you look okay, but it's just unusual to see somebody your age in the car by themselves at 1 a.m. What are you doing? And he said, well, I'm going to a lecture on alcohol abuse and the detriment to your body. And the policeman said, well, where in the world, who is giving a lecture at this time of night like that? He said, well, that would be my wife. Now, since Larry Johnson was a member of our class, Kim Kitchen is going to tell us a little story about Larry Johnson and what he has done for Juniata, but also what she did in, well, I'll let her tell the story.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, I'm going to be following you too, so don't make it too hard.
All right, well, as some of you know, Larry Johnson left a very nice estate gift to Juniata. At the time, we knew that Larry had provided a provision in his will, and we thought it was going to be probably a couple $1 million, which would have been outstanding. And when we learned that he had passed away, we learned that his estate was worth quite a bit more. It was actually worth about $6.5 million. Juniata getting $4.5 million and some change, and then $1.5 million went to the University of Rochester to benefit a Juniata student going on to med school, so a full ride there. So it was very nice, but the big part about the story was I was told because Juniata was going to get everything, I had to go out to California, and I had to go through his items. Well, you know, when somebody puts a provision like that in their will, they really are considering Juniata as family. So for me, I was very touched to go out there, but I had no idea what I was getting into. For one, the good part is Larry was extremely organized. So when I arrived to his house, I am told that because Juniata is getting everything, the executor was an attorney who said, I don't really care to do this, and so you can handle it. So basically I went through all of Larry's personal items, which was sad in a lot of ways, but I just kept reminding myself if I were doing that for a family member, this is really what I was doing for Larry because he thought the college was family to him. So I had to do everything from taking he liked to buy in bulk. He liked to save, so that's probably why there was a lot of money. So I had to take probably closets full of toilet paper and paper towels to the local food shelter, along with all kinds of canned goods. And I took all of his clothing, which was in his drawers. I mean, all of his underclothes were color coordinated in different rows. All of his clothes were hung up by color. And so we gathered all of that up, and I took that to the Salvation Army to help with folks. And then there was the cat. What was I going to do with the cat? So I'd gone around to a few neighbors, and one neighbor was going to take the cat and then decided after she had the cat a couple days she didn't want the cat.